It's streaming now. So it's that come in the room moment. Everybody come in the room.
See in the stream and we're live. Let's see. Start in a minute. Hello. Michelle Maggie, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Make sure this is going down. Woo-hoo. All right. Sorry about that. Oh, let me turn this. Is that good? I think that's good. Hello, everyone. Hope you're coming in. Okay, we're talking about the total body reset. We're talking about what the body does as we age. And like I was saying before, most people in the United States, there's more people over the age of 50 in the United States than any other time in history. And every month, 10,000 people turn 65 years old. And so that goes to show you that there's an older population on the planet. But because of that, they're having more health challenges than ever before. Now they're living longer, but more health challenges. And so that's something that needs to be addressed. And so what I talk to you guys about is that while that's the case, Every effect has a cause, and every cause has an effect. Now, if I tell you the effect of aging is as you get older, you lose muscular strength, you increase body fat, your lungs actually shrink. We talked about that. You can lose 20% of your lung capacity by the time you're 40 years old, but you can lose 40% by the time you're 70 years old if you're not deliberately creating an oxygen debt. In other words, if you're not deliberately getting out of breath, like when you were a kid, you played tag. You're it, Maggie. And kids run and get out of breath and they do it all over again for a long time. And so they're constantly increasing their lung capacity, which is called your tidal volume. And so if you're not doing that, they shrink. But then your bones thin out. You fight osteoporosis and osteoarthritis. And then you lose your cardiac output, or the reserve capacity in your heart, how much your heart can actually pump. Well, those being factors of aging, those are really things that happen as you get older, because if you don't work the body, those kind of things happen. So while yesterday I talked about losing muscular strength, today I want to talk about body fat. Now, how we have body fat. Now, people are all shapes and sizes, no matter what. And we've done everything in the world to get rid of body fat. And so this is the question that I have for you guys. Now, is fat a cause or an effect? Is fat a cause or an effect? In other words, for every effect, there's a cause. And if you don't remove the effects, you're going to continue to have the cause. Now, you can do all kinds of things around that, but if you're not taking the time to take care of or to see what the cause actually is, you'll be chasing the causes for the rest of your life. Or you try to address the effects without getting to the cause. And that's what the medical field does, in my opinion, with sickness and disease. They're trying to band-aid the symptoms, get rid of the symptoms, get rid of the pain, which you need to, that's for sure. But you don't get to the root cause of it. And you'll be chasing cures for the rest of your life. And my contention in my book, as a matter of fact, Body Intelligence, I tell people there's nothing to cure, because the body's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. I don't care what your health challenge is. I don't care if you're overweight, since that's what we're talking about tonight. Your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, because there's a cause to bring about excess fat on the body. And why do we have excess fat as we age? Well, because we become more and more inactive, not because we age. And it's even more than that. I'm going to take it a step further, but I just want you to think about it. Why do we become fat? Why do we address it every year? And I'm addressing this tonight because in the next few days, or the beginning of the month, next month in January, we're going to be looking for resolutions to try to go and to get rid of this for once and for all. And I don't want you to keep chasing things like that. I want you to get to the root of the problem and get rid of it, because you don't have to be fat. If you know what the cause is, you can get rid of the effect, and don't work so hard to go in and do it, or try one thing and then another and then another, and you're just being separated from your money all the time and nothing has happened. And so just like there are all kinds of diets out there, and maybe you guys can, you can ask a question too while we wait for people to come in, but I want you to think about it. What do you think causes fat? What do you think the root cause is? And if you can tell me, we're going to address that. Well, listen, I'm going to tell you straight up. I mean, we see, when I was a kid, I remember Fat Albert. Fat Albert was one of the fat kids, if you will, or fat children that was with this group. And it was just one. And, I looked back in my middle school album, and I remember the guy that we thought was overweight. But we looked in there, and I looked at him, and he was just the one guy. In other words, when I grew up, there was just like one person that we knew of that was overweight. It wasn't like a host of it, but when all your friends were overweight, the whole population was overweight. And maybe that kind of plays into what I'm talking about. When people say, yeah, but we have more junk foods now. At one time we had a few fast food places, the major ones, but now we have more than ever before. And I don't even think it's that, eating hamburgers, fries, this and that. I'm sure you guys all know people that eat all kinds of junk food and are still slim. People with all kinds of crap and are still slim because they have this natural metabolism to take care of it. But if you don't, you have to address it. So what do we do with this fat? I'll tell you right now. Fat is a effect. It is not a cause. But the cause is an over-acidification of the body. And so last night I kind of began to talk about it, about the acid and alkaline. Remember acid, if you throw it in your face, it burns. So acid is caustic, it's abrasive, it's harsh, it burns, it's corrosive, it's inflammatory. It literally creates inflammation. I'm sure you can hear the word. It burns. And we know that. And so think about acid as doing that. And the body has to adapt to this burning. Now, just to let you know, alkaline is just the opposite. It's cooling, it's soothing, it's dispersing, it's calming. It literally puts the fire of inflammation out, just like I did for 30 years. I don't care how big the fire is, as long as you put enough water on it, it's going to go out. All the fires that we had during the LA riots, and believe me, we had 3 calls for fires every 60 seconds. We literally had fire departments and police from Santa Barbara to San Diego, all here in LA, to try to deal with the fires. But if you think about it, they're all out. They're all gone. There's no more fires. And because you put the water on them, they go out. It doesn't matter how big they are. And so it doesn't matter how big you may be or how much weight you have. You can definitely get rid of it. I had someone come in today that was almost 400 pounds. But it's just excess. The body, again, this is what I want you to understand. It's the body's intelligence. The body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. I tell you all the time that the body thinks and deliberates and makes decisions 24/7. And so when it signals you with overweight, it's telling you what's going on. It's telling you what's wrong. Now, you have to be smart enough and intelligent enough to find out what's going on in your lifestyle that brings about this effect. Because if you remove the cause, you remove the effect. And I'm just here to make it simple. And if you have any questions, just jump in and I'll answer them as well. But it really comes down to this. As much as we like to think it's this and that, and we think it's genetics, and oh my gosh, I always hear it's my thyroid, it's an underactive thyroid, I have hypothyroidism. The body, again, is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Listen to me. The body adapts to what you demand of it, specifically to what you demand of it. If you don't have a demand, it's going to adapt to that. In other words, if you sit and sit and sit and eat and sit and don't move and don't metabolize the food that you ingest, of course it's going to adapt by getting bigger. It's like I know a lot of people that drive, like bus drivers and like with the metro or bus drivers for schools, or a lot of people are Ubering now and doing Lyft and all that, and they sit all day. And the body adapts to that. Believe it or not, in my experience, going through people that sit and drive across the country and back, they wind up with hemorrhoids. Remember when I was saying the body adapts? So when you sit like that and your legs are up here, you get so used to that position. Now when you get out, you have to stretch because your body wants to stay in that position. And some of you sit and work all day, and you know how it is to get up and get out of there and then get in your car and sit and drive maybe from downtown LA back to Moreno Valley or whatever. And you come back that same way the next day, and then you sit. And the body is always adapting. Remember, the body's alive, it's dynamic, it thinks, it deliberates, it makes decisions. And so whatever you ask it to do or whatever you don't ask it to do is going to adapt. So I was telling somebody earlier today, if you can take 2 twins and set them down, and you have one twin, same thing, 6 feet, 190 pounds, both the same, sit one down and just let them Netflix and chill ever and ever, eating whatever, even great foods, fruits and salads and this and that, more vegetarian, more plant-based diet. And here's a guy that's eating pretty much whatever he wants, but he's physically active. I mean, he's vibrant. I mean, he runs up mountains, he sprints, he climbs, he lifts weights, he does push-ups, pull-ups, squats. He does all of this stuff. I'm telling you, this guy eating almost whatever he wants is going to live longer and have a better quality of life than the guy that's sitting down eating that stuff. Because the body is adapting to what you demand of it. There is no demand. Yes, he may be eating better foods. And I tell you, for years, I put everything on nutrition. I've been in Inglewood for 21 years. And we think nutrition is the key. Nutrition is part of the key. But what affects your health, what affects your longevity, what affects your quality of life more than anything is physical activity. You have to move your body. You have to increase blood flow, lymph flow, and nerve flow, because that's the energy of the cells. Again, if you think of energy as the commodity of health, everyone wants more energy. Why? because energy is life. Life is energy. So if you think of the life that's in your body, and this is the equation, the life is equal to the energy that's in your body minus the obstructions. So you can write it down. L, which is life, equals the E, the energy in your body, minus the obstructions. And what I mean by obstructions, anything that obstructs your energy, anything that obstructs blood flow, lymph flow, and nerve flow is going to take away from your life. Now, eating better foods and not moving your body is going to create an obstruction because there's no movement. There's no physical, there's no mechanical movement. Like I'll tell people they'll have cold hands and feet, anemia of the extremities, they'll have poor circulation. You've seen people with the pedal edema, the swollen feet and ankles. And I'll tell them to their kidneys, but it's because gravity is pulling everything down. And they'll try to elevate their feet to get some relief because now you elevate your feet. And so gravity naturally pulls the fluid back into the system. But the reason why their feet are swollen is because they're not moving. See, the heart pumps blood out through the arteries. It pumps out the blood to give the oxygen and nutrients to all the cells, but it's your veins that bring it back up. The veins in the legs are bringing the blood back up into circulation. And if you're inactive, well, of course, the fluids are going to settle in your feet and settle in your ankles, and then even settle up to your knees, and then even goes beyond your knees, where it looks like literally looks like elephantiasis. You can have legs that look like elephants because you're not creating the demand for the body. So when you want to think that the cause for overweight or being overfat is the thyroid, I get it, and we like to put it on that. But again, think of your thyroid as a cell that needs fuel, that needs nutrition, that needs activity. Keep it simple. If you have hypothyroidism or slow thyroid, if you will, wouldn't you want it to wake up? Wouldn't you want to put some life into it? Wouldn't you want to move it? So if you were like lazy, like I don't want to say lazy, if you're just inactive, like a lot of people are, what is the thing to do? It's to get them moving. Because to get them moving, again, increase that blood flow, lymph flow, and nerve flow, is going to change the body's chemistry. So even if you do think your thyroid is low and operating a low thing, how about sending some blood to it? Let's send in some nerve energy to it. Let's take the lymph and pull the waste out of it. I mean, I know it sounds esoteric, but your thyroid could be constipated. Just like any other cell. Your brain could be constipated. Your eyes could be constipated. Your liver, your kidney, spleen, gallbladder, pancreas, ovaries, testicles, prostate cells, they can all be constipated. And so if they're constipated, the body's going to give you a reaction. There's going to be an effect. And again, if you don't get to the root of it, you're going to always have that effect. So the effect of overweight is because the body is overacidic. And I've told you the other day about what the body does when it's overacidic. When his body is overacidic, remember, it all burns and it's caustic and it's abrasive. The body says, oh my gosh, we're on fire. We have to do something with this. Now, in the fire department, when there's a fire, they call the firefighters. Why? Because we put water on the fire and put it out. So when your body's inflamed and on fire, your body retains water to put the fire of inflammation out. Everyone knows if you get hit in the cheek and it starts to swell, what are you going to do? You're going to go grab some frozen peas or an ice pack and put it on there to keep the inflammation down. Well, I'm telling you, your body's intelligent enough to do the same thing. So when you're inflamed and overacidic, the body retains water to dilute the acid, to put the fire of inflammation out. And so we actually call it inflammation. When it retains water, it's the body's way of trying to address it. But now we look at the inflammation and we want to get rid of it, but that's the way it compensates by retaining the water. But that's not the only way. The body will literally produce more cholesterol to protect the blood vessels from the acid because it's a buffering system. I mean, I'm sure most of you know when you used to get the perm and put the Vaseline all around the edges to keep your skin and scalp from being burned. Well, that was a buffering system. And your body, in its intelligence, is doing the exact same thing. So now it produces cholesterol to buffer the acids from burning your blood vessels. But then your body can also leach calcium out of your bones because calcium is an alkaline-based mineral. So that's when you have acid. And everyone knows when you have acid indigestion, you can take Tums with calcium or Rolaids or Pepto-Bismol or Tagamet or Pepcid-AC or Prilosec. All of these antacids to try to put the fire of acid out. But the body's not over acidic because you didn't take these Tums or Rolaids or Pepto-Bismol or Takedo or any of that stuff. So how is that going to be the remedy? What you'd have to do is stop eating acidic foods and fluids. And that would literally be getting to the root of the problem. So now what do you do when you're overweight and you're over fat? Of course, you're not moving, you're less active. But the thing is, when you're eating more acidic foods, the body will produce fat. It will literally generate fat to store the acid in the fat. When the body has a place to store the acid, it keeps it away from the visceral organs. And so now your organs can be better off. So think about it. Here's a good analogy I've had when, say like if somebody's getting ready to come over your house and they're coming over unexpected and they bring, their friends with them. It's like, oh my gosh, they're going to be here in 5 minutes, but you haven't cleaned up the house. So, you might grab the clothes and throw them in the closet and close the door. You might grab the dishes and throw them in the dishwasher, shut it. You might run and, close the doors to other rooms. You just start stashing things. You just start putting them in the corners. Well, if you don't have enough room, then, you might store something in another cabinet that doesn't normally have that. But in other words, you're going to be putting things away because you want the environment in the home to look right for the guests that are about to come. Where your body does the same thing. It deposits fat on your body as a good thing. I know that sounds totally contrary, right? But the body producing fat is trying to keep you alive. It's a compensatory effort. The body's compensating for the acidic foods and fluids that you're eating, so it's trying to adapt to what you're sending it through. It's the only way to respond. But it's trying to get you to understand, yes, I'm going to keep producing this as long as you keep eating that way. And if you stop eating that way and moving your body, we'll have a totally different result. Now, I know you get people that are slim and they probably eat all kinds of crap and junk like that, and naturally their metabolism is faster. But you know what? If they don't have the fat, they don't have a place to buffer, send all of these acids into. And buffer, like I was saying, putting the clothes in the closet and in the drawers and just slamming the doors and stuffing it in there and putting the games in the game closet and shoving it in there. Well, the body, if the body doesn't have the fat to store it in, so I can tell you, slim people, they can have more acids eating away at their organs because they don't have the fat to buffer it. So now they're going to have acid indigestion. They're going to have ulcers. They can have, lesions on the liver, fatty liver, because the body's still trying to put it somewhere. They can have kidney failure. They can have high blood pressure because now the body's retaining this waste in the system. And so the blood pressure is pushed up. In other words, when you have more acid and you don't have the fat to store it in, what does the body do? It's got to do something with this acid. So now it's dumping into the system. And so now, because you don't drink enough water, your body's retaining water and making you fat to try to store this stuff, but there's no fat. So it's going to send the pressure up. The blood vessels are exactly the same size, but now the pressure goes up because if you drink enough water, and let me do this caveat right now. If you're slim, and of course, if you're overweight as well, you want to drink water. But if you're slim, and I tell everybody, you got to drink water first thing in the morning because between 4 in the morning and 12 noon, your body's focused on elimination. And that's why you have normally your biggest bowel movement in the morning, that strong dark urine in the morning. You have that morning breath coming up and out of your palate. You can have mucus in your eyes and your sinuses. You can have new pimples coming out through the skin or discharges through your genitalia because the body's trying to get this waste out. So you want to drink water because you're just a bunch of cells bathing in two fluids. So you got to get that water in, and then that'll move out that waste out of your kidneys. Because the kidneys, I'm telling you guys, is the most complex organ in the body, second only to the brain. And it really is your life source. Because again, what sits on top of the kidneys is the adrenal glands. But when you're toxic and over acidic and the body doesn't produce the fat, the kidneys get punished because you got to get rid of it. I mean, think about it. You have the two kidneys, the two tubes from the kidneys, the ureters, then you have the bladder and you have the urethra. That's where you urinate through. So the kidneys are filtering this waste through the lymphatic system, the right side going through the right kidney, left lymphatic system through the left kidney, trying to filter all this waste out, this acid out. But now this is how the kidneys work. The kidneys will take the acid, filter it through, and then dump it into the bladder. And once the bladder has enough water, then you'll have this irritation feeling, which lets you know you need to urinate, and you'll urinate out the acids. Well, if you don't drink enough water, you're not going to create enough urine to evacuate the acids. And if you don't evacuate the acids, the only way the body can compensate is to retain water because you haven't gotten rid of it. And so now the body, with a person that's more overweight, it's a good thing. It's your body trying to keep you well and alive. So don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as a good thing in that sense. But no, you still need to do something about it because, yes, overweight and fat on the outside is not as bad as fat on the inside. Like I said, in your liver and other different organs like that. You've seen the marbling in a steak. You've seen the fat on the outside of the steak, and it has to be mobilized into the steak. And in the steak, that's the only place it's burned. So if you have less muscle and more fat, again, think of that steak. So now imagine on the outside of the steak, you have this much fat, and then you just have this small muscle, and you have lots of fat on the outside. Well, you got a lot of catching up to do. You got to mobilize all of this fat. Again, it's only burned in the mitochondria of the muscle cells. So I'm going to help you burst some myths today. We can say, I wrote a book and I haven't really put it out. It's called Stop Hiding the Fat. But people wear corsets and waist trainers and wrap dresses and all of these things, corsets and whatever else they have on the market to try to hide the fat. And so they'll look better and slimmer and spandex or whatever else, all of those other things. And so people can look different from the way they actually are. But the thing is, you don't have to do that because you got to get to the root of the problem. And some people say like, well, we can turn the fat into muscle. And then if you work out, then the muscle, if you stop, then the muscle turns to fat. That does not happen. Those are two different elements. Those are two different chemistries. Fat is not converted to muscle and muscle is not converted to fat. That's like trying to change lead to gold. It's alchemy. It's unreal. So don't ever think about that. But I can tell you this for certain. The more muscle you have, the more furnaces you have, the more mitochondria that you have, the more fat-burning cells that you have, you don't even have to worry about fat. Don't let it bother you. Move the body. That's what I'm talking about, the total body reset. Move the body in the way it needs to be moved. And I'm talking about doing all of this in 10 minutes a day because it's concentrating. It's building the muscle mass. And you probably heard of the word body composition. Body composition means how much muscle you have compared to fat. And some of you women out there, you may have always wondered why do men lose weight faster than women? Because they have more muscle compared to fat. Think about it. What does that tell you? Their body composition is different. If you have more muscle compared to fat, now you can lose the fat even faster because you have more fat burning muscles or fat burning furnaces or fat burning energy cells in the body. And that's why it happens. So the same thing with women. If you build more muscle, if you build more mitochondria, if you build more fat burning cells, you'll burn fat easily just as well. But you have to move and you have to do the things that put the muscle on the body. So my thing for you, honestly, is don't focus on the fat. Let the fat do what it do because it's there for a reason. It's there because of your lifestyle and it's trying to get you to associate the fat with your lifestyle. So what do you have to do? You literally have to become someone else. That's right. I said it. You have to become someone else. You have to become that slim guy. You have to become that slim female. You have to become that slim person. You need a whole different mindset. But the thing is, you need a win. I don't want you guys going through a new year, trying to figure it out, and then waiting again until 2025 and 2026 and 2027, trying to do it all over again. Because the answer is there. And I'm going to give you an answer. If you want to follow me along with me and do it, the answer is there. You have to eat more alkaline foods because you don't want to keep creating more acid in the body, but you have to move the body. That is even more significant than the nutrition. That's what I'm here to tell you. It honestly is. But you can make all the difference in the world. And believe it or not, everything else segues down from there. If you don't have enough muscle, like I said, you get older. If you don't have enough muscle tissue, now you build more fat. Well, if you build more fat means you're inactivity. And because you're inactive, that's what's making your lungs shrink. So you lose your lung capacity. Like I said, 20% by the time you're 40, 40% by the time you're 70, if you're not creating that oxygen debt. But then your bones thin out. It's the same thing. So now you can fight osteoporosis and osteoarthritis. So it's all this slippery slope, you guys. It's this slide that you slide into. And then from there, you lose the muscular strength, you increase the body fat, the lung shrinks, the bones thin out, and now you lose that cardiac output. Your heart can't pump as efficiently as it can. So imagine if your muscles are weak, what do you think your heart muscles are doing? And let me say this real quick. There is more mitochondria in the heart cells than anywhere else because the heart has to continue pumping all the time while you're asleep, while you're Netflixing and chilling, while you're doing whatever you're doing, while you're trying to rest and meditate. Your heart will continue to beat as long as you live. And that'll let you know it has more mitochondria in that heart than anything. And if you don't keep that mitochondria in the heart going, I always tell people, why do you think heart attack is the number one killer in the country? Even with the prevalence of cancer. Now, cancer is a close number two, but why is a heart attack still number one? It's because when that heart tissue atrophies, just like your muscles can atrophy, when that heart tissue atrophies, it cannot pump the blood as efficiently to all the cells, tissues, and organs. And remember what is in the blood? Oxygen and nutrients that are pumped to every other cell in the body. So if your cells don't get their oxygen and nutrients, how can they proliferate? How can they grow? How can they get stronger? They can't. That's why I said if I just put you in a concealed room with no windows and doors, where are you going to get your oxygen from? You're going to keep rebreathing your air. That's not good. And I'll tell you, during the pandemic, people put the mask over their face. They know how that felt. Restricting your airway, your tidal volume, your lung capacity. That was the worst thing in the world they told us to do. We needed more oxygen during the pandemic than any other time because we needed to change the environment, the biological terrain in the body. But I tell you, everything, and it may seem like a sidetrack, everything they told us to do was the worst thing in the world. Think about it. Stay at home, shelter in place. And what do people do when they stayed at home and sheltered in place? They didn't move. By and large, they did not move. They just sat there. And sitting there can create more inactivity. But then they told you to wear a mask when you did go out. So now that's taking down your tidal volume. That's taking down your lung capacity. That's taking down the air that you can actually take in. Remember I said that air is 79% nitrogen and only 21% oxygen? So now if you take in even less air, you have less oxygen because your lungs has to extract the oxygen out of the air. And so if your lung capacity is diminished, you got a mask on your face and you're getting in less air. And so now all your cells are getting less air. I think that's a setup. I think it's a setup to have all kinds of health challenges. And I see people starting to wear their mask again. I don't even know what to tell them. Well, I do, but are they going to listen? And they're starting to wear them again because now they're pre-framing their thinking with all of this stuff that's about to happen. My thing is simple. Get healthy. Stay healthy. Be healthy. Let that be your lifestyle. Buy into health. Let that be the thing. I don't want to think about diseases. I mean, you know how many diseases? Get you a Merck manual. Yes, a red book. You can get the layman's Merck manual. Has all of the diseases in there. Thousands and thousands of diseases. Is that what you're going to do? Try to get some drugs to stop all of these diseases? No. Just build health. My thing is like, how do you build a healthy heart? How do you build healthy lungs, liver, kidney, spleen, gallbladder, pancreas, brain cells? Make them healthy. Do the things that make them healthy and not try to stop from getting disease. Because when you think like that, like I said yesterday, when your thinking is disease-based, you're going to live in a world of illness. And you guys can understand that. If your thinking is poverty-based, you're going to live in a world of lack. If your thinking is fear-based, you're going to live in a world that's frightening. And it's because of our thinking. And again, your cells in your body are constantly eavesdropping on your internal dialogue and your external speech. And it doesn't matter if you don't say it out loud. You know, because I know a lot of people say, oh, death and life is in the power of the tongue. You don't have to say it. Your cells are still listening. You can think all of those negative things. You can think those negative thoughts. Well, let's call them acid thoughts so you can get the language right. Now you can think those acid thoughts. You can have those acid thoughts create acid feelings. Those acid feelings create acid behavior. That acid behavior creates an acid life. And now you live in this acid lifestyle, eating this acid food, living in an acid relationship, driving an acid distance to an acid job to get acid pay, driving back to your acid household, and you wonder what the heck is going on. There's no accident. For every cause, there's an effect. That's why I always say, if you're around me, you'll hear me say, your health is a demonstration of the fuel that you consume and your body's response to that fuel. Now think about it. If you're fueling yourself with things that aren't great, that aren't helpful, that aren't beneficial for you, your body's going to still try to adapt to that. That's the intelligence of the body. That's why I wrote the book, Body Intelligence. But that's the thing. Your body's got to tell you that something's wrong. If you're doing something wrong, you want your body to tell you. Put it this way. If you sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning and your house is on fire, you want the smoke detector to go off, don't you? You absolutely do. And so when your body signals you with a health challenge, you better listen and pay attention. Or just like some people do, stay asleep, stay unconscious, don't hear the smoke detector, and then go away. I've seen it my whole career, 32 years on the fire department. Some people just got drunk, didn't hear the smoke detector, didn't move. Some heard it, tried to get out, but then they got smoke inhalation. They tried to run, and before they even died from burns, they died from smoke inhalation. As soon as you take that deep breath, that carbon, all that stuff going into your lungs, bam, just shuts you down. And they're right in front of the window. Almost made it out, but it doesn't go down like that. I'm telling you guys, it's always an adaptation. Your body is always adapting. It's just like I was talking to someone today, they're doing this cold plunging. So they go in this cold, icy cold water, and they thought they were going to die when they first went in, but now they're in there for 20 minutes. And they were in there for 20 minutes, and they said, like, gosh, all the inflammation went out. It just pushed everything out. It literally pushes the heat out of your body. So now your body has to adapt. Your body has to work so hard to try to generate heat because of the cold that's around you. You're buffering your body. So now when you get out, you have all kinds of great circulation and tissue perfusion, and you're just like, it's like a whole new world. But the thing is, they took the time to adapt to it. And so wherever you see your life is, it's been adaptation. And so the thing is, if you want a different life, you have to create the environment. And that's why I talk about, let's create a community. You have to create the environment and get around the people that are doing exactly what you want to do. If you start hanging around healthful people, I tell you, it makes all the difference in the world. That's why I say that African proverb said it takes a village to raise a child. And my contention is it takes a village to raise an adult, because adults should be ever learning, continue to learn. There's just so much that we didn't get in childhood and in adulthood. We all didn't go to school. We all weren't around people that were educated or just learned things naturally that we didn't get to learn. So now you have to put it together. You put it together and it makes all the difference in the world. I see someone, they started their cold therapy. But listen, keep it simple. Keep it simple. In other words, what I mean by simple, for every cause, there's an effect. For every effect, there's a cause. So if you have this overweight and the body's producing more fat, it's doing it for a reason. And I don't like to buy into, slow thyroid or, even the whole thing of too many calories or this or that. The thing with too many calories is that some people eat just as many calories as you eat and still be fine because they have so much activity. So again, if we're going to get in the bus, let's get in the car right now and say we're all going to get on the bus and we're going to go to San Diego. So I literally fill up the gas tank and top it off. Now I got all the way along. Say, yes, I want to have enough gas to get us to San Diego so we don't have to stop. And again, we take off, get on the freeway. Well, of course, the freeway is crowded right now. So let's just wait for the traffic to die down. So we get off, come right off the freeway, right back to the gas station and start pumping gas again. Now, the bus needs gas, but we already filled it up. So if you start pumping gas, it's going to spill over into the ground. And so when you don't metabolize the food, it spills over into your body as adipose tissue. In other words, if we drove to San Diego, then we can afford to put more fuel in. But because we didn't, we put more fuel in and now it spills over. Now, if you had a reserve tank, it would spill over into your reserve tank. Well, our reserve tank is this adipose tissue. So literally you're walking around with this excess fuel that's waiting to be used. And that's what your body should do. It should store the fuel, because if you don't get enough to eat, now your body can use that for fuel. But I'm telling you, we have so much access, you guys. We don't have to run or hunt or chase or do any things like the African bushman that could be 80 plus years old with his muscle bellies and six pack and striations and definition, because he's out there metabolizing the food that he eats. He creates a demand for the fuel that he consumes. If we don't create a demand for the fuel and we keep adding more fuel and keep adding more fuel, your body has to do what it has to do. So let's be smart. Let's take it in that direction and do what we need to do. I was trying to see, if we got any questions right here. Yeah, I think it makes all the sense in the world as well. So again, what I'm trying to get us to do is we have to start moving. And even prior to the total body reset or start January 1st, we need to just start moving, period. Just moving the body, whatever it is. I don't care how small and insignificant it is. You can start pushing off the wall, just lowering yourself to the wall. You can do squats. I don't care if it's just 5 inches down and come back up. Just start moving. You can walk in place. I'm telling you, without activity, everything shuts down. And when everything shuts down in the body and your body's saying, well, you don't need me, you don't want me, you don't care about me. And again, I love how my wife says, you're not aging. Your body's divorcing you because of neglect. It happens like that. It happens in all relationships. Yeah, you have a relationship with your body and it's speaking to you, but by and large, you could have been ignoring it. You can ignore, and men do. Let me say that because I'm a man, I can get on us. Men, we know the body says to us, this speaks to us all the time, and we'll just, it's all right. No, I'll check it out later. Oh, I'll just sleep it off. Oh, it's going to go away in a minute. Oh, I'll be all right in the morning when I wake up. We have all these excuses and we're just dying. You tell me why I think men die faster than women? Because they put things off. They disregard what their body is saying to them. And it says it all the time. I mean, it can get louder and louder and louder. And that's the symptomology of the body. That's what I said. And we all get it. Like I said, when the body signals that it has to urinate, you can ignore it. You really can. But it's going to get louder. You can still ignore it. It get louder. You still ignore it. All of a sudden, you start bouncing. Children do the same thing. You ignore it. You ignore it. Now, all of a sudden, you better run. Now you got to run and take care of it. And when you answer the body, the symptom leaves. Fellas, we can't run away from what's going on. I mean, I know too many men right now that really cannot get it up. Let me just say it like that. I have to be frank. They come in all the time and they think it's something magic. Like we need what, Viagra or Cialis or whatever. We don't need the Cialis and we don't need Viagra. The thing is, your body is telling you it doesn't have the circulation to your penis, to your prostate, to the glands, organs, and tissues. And your glands are the government in the body. They literally control everything. But if they don't get the fuel they need, they don't get the oxygen that they need, they don't get the circulation that they need, they don't get everything that they need to live and survive. And now your cells get constipated. And no, you don't feel it. You may not feel it. When the cells get constipated, I dare say no one feels it. It doesn't register in your nervous system. But I can tell you this, after so many cells get constipated, it causes tissue constipation. After so much tissue constipation, it causes organ constipation. Now, organ constipation registers in your nervous system as a sign or a symptom. And then that's when you go to the doctor for a drug, for a poison, for a toxin to try to poison the body back into health. But now we're adding more acidic toxins and drugs under the guise of being healthy. Well, you guys know it. I always say it. You cannot poison the body into health. Say it over and over again to yourself. You cannot poison the body into health. Now, I'm being on the fire department 32 years. Yeah, you can use drugs as a stopgap. You're having a heart attack, boom, put some nitroglycerin on. We're going to dilate the blood vessels, get blood in. But now systemically, you have to build the heart back up. I mean, think about this. What is a heart attack? How did we get there? We get there. We're going to get as simple as we can get. A heart attack is called a myocardial infarction. I know that sounds like it's not simple, but myo just means muscle, cardiac, okay, it's heart muscle, infarction, it dies. So it's dead tissue. That sounds big and beautiful and all that. How about this? A heart attack is constipated coronary arteries. Isn't that easy to understand? Constipated brain is Alzheimer's, memory loss, mini stroke, major stroke, aneurysm, whatever it's going to call, constipated eyes, nearsightedness, farsightedness, conjunctivitis, glaucoma, cataracts. Constipated lungs. Anybody that ever had any respiratory problem knows what constipated lungs are. Asthma, bronchitis, emphysema, tuberculosis, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. But people know what constipated kidneys is. They can call it nephritis or high blood pressure. Constipated bladder. Constipated, the acid in the stomach. I just talked to a guy with ulcers Just imagine your stomach lining is more digestible than the food that you're eating. So we're going to eat away at that stomach lining. And the body's, again, doing what it's supposed to do, because the Tums and the Rolaids and the Pepto-Bismol, that's not the answer, because you're eating the acid foods, and that's why you need the Tums and Rolaids. But if you didn't eat the acid foods, you wouldn't need it. So again, your body's adapting to it. And so whatever the health challenge is, I always say constipated kidneys is nephritis, constipated bladder is cystitis, constipated joints is arthritis. And we call it by some name, by and large, some Latin name. And so now we think we have something. And if you read my book, I'll tell you, no, there's nothing to cure. You've been going this way, getting worse, doing about face, and start improving your health. And it doesn't take a lot. It really doesn't. You just have to get on track and start moving in that direction. And as you move in that direction, I mean, even slowly in that direction, and you feel better and you feel better, you don't have to change overnight, but you can feel better and feel better. Now, if you can get into a group that's going in that direction, it's the best thing in the world. That's why I say we have to become someone else. It's like, you know how they, and I talked about how they train an elephant, you know, they'll put the chain around his leg and he'll pull and pull and pull and try to get away, you know, for days, you know, maybe a week. And then after that, he's going to be full grown, bigger than this room that I'm in. And they'll put a rope around his leg and he won't move. And I'm always asking the question, well, can the elephant get away? Well, he can, but he won't, because he's been conditioned to think that he can't get away. And that's what it is. We've been conditioned. But it just doesn't happen to an elephant. It's like a gourd. Like I said, you make a gourd and put a ball or a piece of fruit inside of this little hole that's just big enough for the monkey to get his hand into. Once he grabs it, that's it. It's over for him. Because now when the trapper comes from behind the bush to come and get him, he'll yell and scream, ah! But he won't let go of the ball. He won't let go of the fruit. He even holds onto it even more intensely. And the guy comes, puts the burlap sack over his head, cinches it up, pulls his hand out, ties him to the tree, and wait for the next monkey. Who's the next monkey? That's what I want to know. It's that conditioning. But then a flea, like I said, you can put a flea in a container and put a lid over it, and that flea will hit the container, hit the top, until he gets the idea that he can't get out. Then he'll go up under the container, take the lid off, and he'll never jump out of the jar. Never, ever, ever. And all I'm doing is saying that to bring you up to this thing with a fish in the fish tank. He'll swim around, maybe this 4 feet tank, and swim around, and then you put him in the pond, he'll still swim around in that 4 feet. The only thing that can move that fish out of that 4 feet area is for a school of fish to come around him and take him away. What am I saying, guys? We need a village. We need a group. We need a tribe. We need somebody that's going in the direction that we want to go in. You know, we hear it all the time, success leaves clues. And it does. Because there are people that are successful. There are people that are, I saw someone today, well, that had lupus years ago. That came to me with lupus years ago. I didn't even recognize her. And she started talking, and I'm looking at her, and I was like, she says, yeah, Romeo. It's like, that's why I had to come get this stuff. And it's like, and now she has access to all of these people with lupus, and now she can tell them, like, yeah, there's something you can do. And there definitely is. I usually recognize people. If I've seen you before, I won't not recognize you. With her, I didn't recognize her at all. But I love it. And I love it that she even came in, that I was here when she came in. So I can see the changes that we made in the 21 years that we've been here in Inglewood. But I want to tell you guys, let's see, where's the clock? Okay, I need a clock. Any questions? Hey, Danny, Spirit of Lima. Good. Any questions? Yes, the body is talking to you. Yeah, are we listening? Yeah, that's the question. And it does speak to. And I know I kind of centered on the fat today. And yesterday I talked about the muscle, but I'm telling you, that's why I said yesterday, muscle knows no age. It literally doesn't. Muscle knows no age. I don't care how old you are, you can build muscle. And muscle, I'm telling you, muscle is where so much of our energy is stored. And we need that. We need muscle more than we need anything, because it doesn't just give us shape, it gives us strength, it gives us the ability to be able to stop and go. And that's why I was saying last night, so many older people are injured. I mean, damaged harshly, just because of a sudden move. They weren't ready for it. They might have been, like I said, carrying a piece of furniture and they stepped into a hole And now they're trying to drop down and catch the weight of it. And then boom, just that sudden move. Oh, my back. Oh, my shoulder. Because they haven't adapted. They haven't built the strength in their back and shoulders and chest to be able to adapt to that sudden move. I'm telling you, sudden moves take so many people over 50 out. And then because it takes them out, what I mean by they become less and less ambulatory. In other words, they start being less and less active because they injure themselves. And everybody knows people that are on the progress, building their health, doing all of this stuff. And they may even get injured by a trainer. And now they're getting all of this weight back because the trainer was just pushing them and working them too hard. Worst thing in the world. Let's see. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Okay. Yeah. And so the same thing is not just that sudden move damages them, and it can be a life damaging issue just because of a sudden move, really. But then when there's this unexpected exertion, I mean, just totally unexpected. You can be walking, minding your own business, and you're walking by this person's house, and all of a sudden this dog, because the gate got left open, this dog comes running out chasing you, and you go try to go from 0 to 60, and you haven't gone from 0 to 60 since you were 10 years old. And it's like, whoa, face plant, heart attack. Because it was unexpected, but it was exertion that you couldn't stand, you couldn't take. And I'm telling you, I was exerted on the fire department 32 years. Up at midnight, up at 1:30, up at 3 o'clock in the morning, up at 4. 60 seconds, you're out of the station and going like a bat out of hell, running a 10K from a dead sleep. That right there, doing that on a daily basis for me, taught my body and hormones that I was fit for life, that I was fit for survival, that I was fit to be on this planet. And that's the thing that I didn't want to lose. And so continue to build from there. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can become fit again in every area of your life. You just have to move in that direction. And the thing is, we did it and we did it. And people say, oh, you're so easy to get up in the middle of the night. Well, I don't want to get up in the middle of the night if I don't need to get up in the middle of the night. They say, well, you're used to it. What is being used to it got to do with anything? When you sleep, you want to sleep. But the thing is, you know that you can do it. And because you know that you can do it, you know that you can survive. That's what makes the difference. And so you have to go through the motions, you guys. That's what Total Body Reset is about. It's about taking you where you are, wherever you are, gradually moving you, taking you through the motions with the push moves, the squat moves, the pull moves. You know, I keep trying to, people just don't stop. People try to call me all day and all night, but I guess it's a demand, right? And what I like to do is give people information that they take it and run with it. And I think sometimes I need to create this community where I can actually lead you one-on-one, if you will, or me to a whole big group or something like that. But it does make all the difference in the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yesterday was you lose muscle strength. Today you increase body fat. And hopefully now you can see why you increase body fat. And tomorrow we'll talk about why your lungs shrink. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give you a head start. Woo! Your lungs literally are the only digestive system for air. And I keep saying that. And, you know, I remember doing these lectures and people say, well, what's the number one nutrient? What's the number one nutrient that we need? I told them oxygen. Oxygen is the number one nutrient. We wouldn't go without food or so-called vitamins and minerals for a while. We can go without water for a short period of time. Oxygen, 4 to 6 minutes, it's over. It's totally over. That's why you need to increase your lung capacity. That's why I told you at the very beginning last week, to create longevity, create the quality of life that you want, you have to breathe in. You have to increase your cardiorespiratory system. In other words, how your heart and lungs can process oxygen to create more energy. Because people, you've seen them, like I said yesterday, when the escalators start working at the malls and people have to walk up, you think you told them to walk up Mount Everest. And it's just to the second floor. That is deconditioning. That's a telltale sign. That right there is the body communicating with you. You need to get up that escalator when it's not moving and say, you know what? This is not good. Because I'm telling you guys, things can come on earth at any time. You might have to go and run somewhere or travel or do something else, or even just run to get away. No, really, I don't know. It might be 1 mile, it might be 5 miles. But you need to be able to run and get away. And I tell you, I'm not going to be the one that's caught. And that's why I say when you think of a group of antelope and the leopards are after them, the one that doesn't get caught is the one with the biggest, greatest lungs and heart, and the one with the most muscular strength. Oh, he's out in front of everyone. And somebody behind him, someone weak, someone feeble, someone doesn't have enough muscular strength, they're the ones going to get caught. And just like you can see it in the natural world, you guys, you got to see it in this world. And I know we don't think about being attacked or this or that anymore or anything like that. But I tell you, I mean, I think everyone needs to learn some kind of martial art. I think everyone needs to learn some kind of first aid, natural first aid. You guys, we would have never thought we would have entered into a year of the pandemic. Come on now, let's be honest. Never, never, never in a million years, we would have thought that would have happened. I mean, globally, maybe in a district, when it's their wars and all that, it's always over there, the war's over there, so we don't think anything about it. But boom, 911, oh, it was over here. And we all had a totally different feeling. And I remember I was at the fire station when it happened. I was getting off that morning and it's like, Romeo, run in here, come to the kitchen. And I jump up out of the bed and I'm looking in there. The World Center is on fire now. And it's like, so we're sitting there and now they got us on standby. We can't even leave because they're thinking there may be something that happens in LA. So we're sticking around and boom, boom, second plane. Oh, we never thought that would happen, but it did. We never thought the pandemic happened, but it did. And people were running around. And I know you guys know how bad you felt after that year. Away from your relationships, that's vital. Yeah. When I talk about health, I talk about everything, not just what you eat and drink and breathe in and put on the skin and what you think, feel, and believe, but relationships. Oh, relationships are vital. So that's what I was saying. When they told you to stay at home, shelter in place, in other words, now you're immobilized. So that's going to decrease everything. But now you wear a mask when you do go out. So that's going to decrease your oxygen uptake. But now you can't see your loved ones. So now you don't get that energy from them. You try to talk to them on the phone and they came up with some silly stuff like phone hug or whatever it is. I don't even know what we do. Well, we're in this thing apart together apart or whatever. Try to come up with some slogans, you guys. But you know what? If the pandemic happened, my thing is stay ready. If you stay ready, you won't have to get ready. That's the bottom line. You got to be ready. I'm serious. I don't know what's coming. Believe me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or doomsday guy, but isn't it wonderful to know that you're fit for survival? That you can run if you have to run, that you can run fast if you have to run, that you can run far if you have to run, that you can take care of yourself, that you can scale a wall or scale a mountain. You know what I mean? I remember, a lot of people can't hop over a 6-foot wall. 6-foot wall is just this high. I mean, you should be able to pull yourself up and hop over. Most people aren't. By and large, especially people over 50 and then the people over 65. Like I said the last time, people 65 and over, 15 to 30% fall and break a femur or a hip. They're dead a year from then because it's just total decline in activity. So when the world says, or the medical field says that aging is a decline in mitochondrial function or the energy producing cells, you can know that I say, yes, it's a decline in mitochondrial function, but what causes that decline in mitochondrial function is because of inactivity. Inactivity causes the decline in mitochondrial function. And if that's the answer, then we need to increase and upgrade the mitochondrial function and increase more mitochondria. How simple is that? And in doing so, fat goes away. Fat gets metabolized. Fat gets used up. Fat becomes the fuel that you've always had waiting for your body to utilize. And it's as simple as that. Don't make it more than what it is. You keep moving and moving and doing it. And I'm telling you, once you do that, every one of the fitness factors increase. Your glands and organs increase. Your heart rate decreases because now they can pump more blood with less heartbeats. Your lung capacity increases. So now you can take in more oxygen and exert yourself even more readily without getting tired. Your lungs and muscles increase. So now you can run faster, you can jump, you can do all kinds of things. Now you might have some sudden move, and you'll be able to take that sudden move. I mean, I can tell you, on the fire department, I fell through stairs, I fell through roofs, I jumped off of roofs. I'm telling you, the LA riots, there's this fire on what was Gage and Figueroa. It was a liquor store on fire. And I'm on the roof of this house right next door. And I didn't know, but I'm just trying to put the fire out. But the fire kept burning and burning. And in a liquor store, they store all the liquor in the rear. Well, that fire hit that liquor and literally just blew the roof off. And so I had to shut the hose down and literally jump off a roof onto the ground. Now, if I wasn't ready, bam, I could have broke an ankle, a leg, or this, that. I jumped down and jumped right up and then ran around on the other side. I can still do it. That's the thing. I'm not losing it. I don't want you to lose it. I want you to gain it and don't lose it. Oh gosh, someone's going to talk about muscle loss. I did last night, but just for you. Yeah, I was just telling them as you get older, you lose muscular strength. And think of muscle as your metabolism. Because some people, the overweight, they'll say, oh, I have a slow metabolism. Okay, let's buy into that. If muscle equals metabolism, because if you add more muscle, you're speeding up your metabolism because now you have more fat burning cells. And the thing about muscle loss is really just from inactivity, not using your muscles. The muscles atrophy. There can be nothing wrong with your arm right now. Everything is fine. You can move your arm, you can fast, you can move whatever, but I can put a cast on your arm. Nothing's wrong with it. Put a cast on your arm for 7 days and you'll be down to 30% of your strength. Nothing was wrong with it. I just immobilized it. That's all. Just immobilize it. And there's so many people that just enacted muscle loss. I'm telling you, muscle loss is the worst thing you can have. That's just a downgrade. It's a downgrade to your life and vitality and quality of life. It really is. And that's why I keep saying muscle knows no age. That's something you can get. I don't care. You got to get it. I mean, not from me, from someone else. But I just try to give you a shortcut. I'm trying to share your way in just 10 minutes a day. Because a lot of people have the excuse that they don't have time. But they don't have time for their life. They don't have time for the quality of life. And that's why I said yesterday, if you want to have 3 million, because people are living longer, if you want to have 3 million in retirement, everyone knows you have to do something now in order to have that 3 million in retirement. You can't get to retirement and says, oh my gosh, I need more money in my retirement. And then say, well, now I got to work another 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. No, because you know that you do what you have to do now, whether it's start a business and increase more in the 401k, or you put like we had more in deferred comp, and you get in these programs or do whatever, or get them on a life insurance policy and build it up so you can borrow from it, whatever it is, you have to do something. In other words, this is the cause in order to have the effect for this $3 million in retirement. Well, it's the same thing with your life and health. If you want to be stronger in your latter years, if you will, you have to do something now. I don't know if you guys got it, but remember the guy, this is not too long ago, he was stuck in space. And I'm gonna close up after this. The guy, the astronaut, he wound up being 12 months in space. Now we know we all live in this ocean called gravity. And this is for you, Spirit of Lehman. We all have this, we all live in this ocean called gravity. So gravity is constantly exerting itself on us. And because we have to resist gravity to get up out of bed or resist gravity to get up out of a chair, which can be hard for some people, we got to resist gravity to bend over and get up. Whether we up or down the stairs, we're still always overcoming gravity. So we all have some semblance of strength because gravity is constantly in force. And so we're constantly resisting it. Well, when you go into space, it's zero gravity. And because it's zero gravity, astronauts were losing 15% of their muscle and bone mass because there was no gravitational exertion on the muscles. And so here this guy yes, his muscles atrophy. So here's this guy is in space for 12 months. They literally had to carry him out of the capsule. They carried him out of the capsule, set him on a chair, and then he was being interviewed. They put the mic in his hand, and the lady had to hold his hand up for him to speak in the mic. That's a decline. And it's simply a decline from inactivity. That's all it is, you guys. And so we can change that around. Now, yeah, we definitely want to change it and still have great nutrition. But I tell you, I'd rather have someone working out, moving their body, metabolizing the food that may not be the best, because that's going to increase their quality of life, as opposed to the person so-called thinking they're eating better. Here's a question. Any of you guys seen any weak vegans? Vegans that they can't sprint across a football field, weak vegetarians. I'm not picking on them. I'm just saying, people that eat all of the right stuff. Anybody know people like, I eat so well and this and that, but they're still sick? When the winter comes, they still get colds and flus. They still go through all of these changes. They have no resistance. Do you know your immune system is equivalent to how your muscle moves? You can't have a strong immune system and don't move. Oh, come on now. You can have it's your defense mechanism. Your immune system is your popo. It's the police department. You want that thing high and tight. Forget all of that other stuff. You can stave off all kinds of things when your immune system is tight. But your immune system can't thrive on inactivity and crap. At least if it was like some decent food and great activity, you would change all the difference between trying to be a vegan, vegetarian, this and that. I'm not down on you, or keto or Mediterranean diet. I mean, all the myriad of diets that are out there, you can do all of those and don't move, and you'll see what the problem is. Anyway, like I said, and I'm not doing all that. I hope you guys will be here. I appreciate you coming here and being here on time, and I will be here tomorrow. And don't forget to go to Total Body Reset Now. Total Body Reset Now, NOW.com. TotalBodyResetNow.com. And then you'll see what we're talking about on there. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys take heed to what I'm saying. I hope you help me create an environment where we can all push each other and compel each other to take our lives to a different level, because 50 is nothing. 60 is nothing, 70, 80, 90. I'm telling you, if you think it is and you start buying into it that it is, well, we want to create a community. I want to create a community of people that knows that we can overcome any age, because age is a number and muscle knows no age. So that's where we're going to go. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're absolutely welcome. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Doc Romeo live at 5. All right. You guys take care and get your questions ready for tomorrow. Because when I come in initially at the very beginning, I'm giving you time to ask questions before I really get into the material. All right. Thank you guys. You guys take care. Bye. Oh, okay.